YouTube, it's Jacob again from Team Pyramid. So today I'm coming at you with an updated version of my counter fairies. So I really like this deck. I really like the fact that it just disrupts your opponent as much as it can and basically makes your opponent not be able to play. Obviously people get really angry at the fact that they can't play the game. However, that is literally what this deck does. So let's get into this now and have a little look, okay? So, for the monsters, I ran 3 Bountiful Artemists. So, each time a counter trap card is activated, immediately after it's resolved, draw 1 card. So it's not even just when you activate it, it could be when your opponent activates a counter trap card. You get to draw a card. It's really, really good. You want to see it as fast as possible just to start getting your draws off. I then run 3 Guardian Ariadne. So I run 3 of her because she is probably one of the best playmakers of the deck, due to the fact of when you set her in your spell, when you play her in your spell and trap card zone, you don't have to pay so much cost for your spell trap cards. For your counter traps. Sorry, not your spells, your counter traps. So obviously your counter traps, they are really, really strong. So you go ahead and they do have side effects. With her, they don't. So you don't have to pay life points or discard costs for counter traps. And her monster and her effect as well, when she's destroyed, she gets to go ahead and make your opponent pick out of 3 counter trap cards which one they want to be brought to your hand, which is really, really good. It actually makes your opponent pick how they want to lose. I then run 2 Minerva. Minerva is your recycler for your spell trap cards, as well as her getting really strong, really fast. She gets 500 attack points for every counter trap that resolves. And on top of that, like I said, she's your recycler. So when Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you can add 1 counter trap card with a different name from your graveyard to your hand. So you activate Solemn Strike, you go ahead and get your Solemn Warning back from your graveyard. Or if you're playing Solemn Judgment, I'm going to be honest, straight up now, I'm not playing Solemn Judgment. I do need to get it so I can put it in the deck, and I will be. However, until then, I'll just be continuing to play the old Solemn package. But it will let you recycle, and the fact that you can go ahead and run cards like Solemn Warning, Solemn Strike, and Solemn Judgment being the big one. Solemn Judgment, if you can go ahead and run that and don't pay cost for it, phenomenal. I then run 2 Power Angel Valkyria. So she lets you literally handpick a light fairy monster from your deck and add it to your hand when a counter trap is resolved. You can only activate once per turn, but she's 1800. She is your hitter. I then run 1 Melton, Sage of the Sky. So I run 1 Melton because you can go ahead and pop your opponent a card your opponent controls, and gain life points each time a counter trap is activated. So you gain life points each time a counter trap is activated. And then, obviously, when Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field as well, you get to destroy 1 card. So that's brilliant. I only run 1 Sacred Arc Air Knight Parshath. So I only run 1 of him because, obviously, he is the boss monster of the deck. You don't really want to draw him because you're not going to sacrifice for him. However, to get him out on the field is pretty easy with this deck, especially because you can go ahead and use one of your counter traps to directly search for him. Or you can go ahead and, when he's in your hand, you can go ahead and banish from your grave, which is really good to get him out. Especially because his effect as well is really good. He has piercing, and on top of that, you get to add, when you deal damage to your opponent, you get to add 1 counter trap or Parshath card from your deck to your hand, which is incredible. I then run 1 Luster Pendulum as well. The reason why I run 1 of him is because he's really good. You get to go ahead and pop one of your... So once per turn, so I'll read his effect. His pendulum effect. Once per turn, if you have a card in your pendulum zone, you can destroy that card, and if you do, add 1 card from your deck to your hand with that same name. So you can go ahead and get the effect of Guardian Ariadne. Pop it. You get its actual effect then, so you make your opponent pick. and then you get to go ahead and get another one from your hand, from your deck to your hand. Then you go ahead and activate it, and you've got him still in the pendulum zone. So you've got a 3 and a 5, which lets you obviously special summon your level 4s, which is really good. But that's it for the monsters. I don't run that many monsters. I know it's more of a trap heavy deck, but obviously it's counter fairies. I then run 3. The Sanctuary of Parshath. Awesome card. Really is awesome. So it's treated as Sanctuary in the Sky. It increases your attack of your fairy monsters by 300 attack points. And your spell and trap, your set spell and trap cards cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card's effects. And then once per turn, you can target the total of 3 monsters or counter traps in your graveyard with different names and place them on the top of your deck in any order. So it's brilliant. So you're recycling again from there. So that's the reason why I don't run that many monsters, is because you can go ahead and recycle the ones you've got. I then run one of the playmakers of the deck as well, Ties of the Brethren. So it gets you your resources on the field as fast as you need them. You don't really use your extra deck that much for this deck. However, the extra deck is there, but you go ahead and get your resources out. So you get your Bountiful Artemis, you use that. Yeah, you can't special summon after that, but you get your Melton or your Valkyria along with your Minerva, and you're set. I then run 2 Card of Demise. So, like I said, it is you're not drawing that many monsters. You're literally wanting to dig your deck for your spells and your traps. Mostly your traps, but obviously for some of the traps you need your Sanctuary in the Sky. So you're looking for obviously your Sanctuary in the Sky or your Sanctuary of Parshath. Talk about Sanctuary in the Sky, I run 2 of them as well. So in total we're running 5. Obviously it's really good as well because when your opponent does get a monster that can beat over you, you're not taking any damage. Then I run 1 Soul Charge. Soul Charge, you don't really need to say much about that. And obviously, in case you do just want to stab at them, 1 Instant Fusion. I only run 1 Instant Fusion because it's not necessary. It mostly works with a side deck of mine that I've got. You'll see later on, I'll explain a bit more. But it works with a side deck. I'm not going to show you my side deck, but it's because everyone's side deck is personal to them and everyone's preferences are different. However, you'll understand when I show you my extra deck. I run 2 Rebirth of Parshath. So like I said, this card is incredible. This card with Bountiful Artemis, with Guardian Ariadne, not Bountiful Artemis, Guardian Ariadne. This card, all you have to do is reveal a counter trap and it shuts down anything. And then obviously you get to special summon from your deck or your extra deck a Parshath monster. That's why I run 1, because I'm only running 2. But its effect is really easy to get off. One of my favourites is Drastic Drop Off. I run 3 of them because obviously your opponent draws, you make them have to discard 1 from their hand. So it's really good. I like it a lot, and it's free, and it just limits down the amount of cards your opponent gets in your hand. And it's not just draw phase, it's whenever your opponent draws. So I then run 3 Divine Punishment. So, like I said, you need your Sanctuary in the Sky on the field to activate most of these, but it's when a spell when a spell card, a trap card, or a monster card effect is activated, negate and destroy. Job done. Then run 3 Ultimate Providence. So, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, discard the same type, monster, spell, or trap, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. So this card don't need Sanctuary in the Sky, however, you need to discard, but with Guardian Ariadne, I would keep saying Bountiful Artemis, with Guardian Ariadne, you don't have to discard, so it shuts it down. Like I said, I don't have Judgment, but I do have 3 Solemn Strikes and 1 Solemn Warning. They're free in this deck, really are. Guardian Ariadne is an incredible card, and I will be running Judgment as soon as I get one. Off to the extra deck. Like I said, you don't really use it that much. 2 Decode. It's Decode. 1 Binary Sorcerer. 1 Proxy Dragon. Then it really is just what I threw in here. One number 32 Shark Drake. One Malevolent Sin, number 70. Evil Swarm Ouroboros. One Utopia. One Tsukiyomi. One Rhapsody. One Palladium. One Dark Rebellion. One Antitopia. Then for the instant fusion target, Sea Monster Theseus. And then, like I said, that is only really and truthfully when I'm side decking, because I get to go ahead and get a couple of lower monsters in to get my Trishula out. Again, I like disrupting my opponent. I like making their hands as little as possible so they have very few options. But that is what that's in there for. That along with instant fusion. But like I said, instant fusion's in the main deck for the fact that you can stab at your opponent with Theseus. But that's it for the main deck. I would really like to hear what you guys think. I have updated it since the last time I put it up there. I want to continue to update it. I'm literally getting my judgment within the next couple of days, and that'll be going in here. But thank you very much, YouTube, for watching. And as always, if you want to see any decks profile, please let me know. If you want to see any packs open, please let me know. And as always, if you like the video, please hit that thumbs up and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And as always, I hope you have a great day. Bye bye, YouTube.